For those that are watching this, my name is Molly Trotter Gomez. If you've stayed on the call from the opportunity call, hello again, welcome back. But I'm really excited for tonight's training. We're going to talk about how sales is dead. And you might be like, what do you mean? Like, how is that even possible? What do you mean? Well, I'm really excited for us to talk about this. And I'm going to bring on Michelle, which again, she is our CEO and founder. And I just have so much love for this woman because just what she's meant to me personally. If you ever find somebody in your life, you're like, you know what? I've always prayed for a mentor, and God just kept shutting the door time after time after time after time. And then here's Michelle coming up in my DMs talking about GPA. And I'm like, who is this person? But over the years, God's highlighted to me, this is the mentor that I saved for you. And she probably didn't know that. I've actually never told her this before, but I'm so grateful because God kept shutting the door on the people that weren't meant to lead me. But Michelle is here and she leads by example. The Holy Spirit guides her in everything that she does. She has an amazing marriage. I love her and Bobby to pieces. My husband and I just love zipping over to Temecula, an hour away, to come hang out with them for the weekend. They're always so inviting. But they have truly gone before us and they have paved the way. They have literally plowed, and I could not be more grateful. So, I mean, what better person to talk about sales being dead and really changing the narrative than Michelle? So Michelle, here you are.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Molly. You did an absolutely phenomenal job on that call. Bravo. There was literally, I think there was over 100 comments. And
well, you know what I found actually really important with all those comments? It just showed me how fired up these ladies are. I mean, there was like over 100 women on there. So honestly, kudos to you for starting all of this, because like that was amazing. So if you guys love Michelle, type it in the chat. I love her, so I'm definitely going to type it in the chat.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited about our topic tonight, Molly. You and I have talked often about sales being dead. And what does that even mean in the marketplace when we are talking about sales being dead?
Well, actually, you know what? I want to jump in here really quick because you and I actually just posted about this on social media. So the crazy part is that when I posted it and then Michelle posted it, I'm like, okay, Lord. So obviously this is resonating. This is hitting. So sorry, I just had to jump in there really quick. I really wanted to share that. They're great posts. You can go check them out. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. We both, great minds think alike, right? Like both of us were feeling this thing because of the fact that everybody's out there pitching everybody constantly. We have sales fatigue is what I like to say. We are just exhausted from constantly every post, everybody's doing it, and we're on to the tactics now, right? We really understand and we see that when people are just out there pitching every little thing.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. I'm so sorry, Michelle. You have no idea how many times I get pitched on a daily basis. It's literally like, seriously, like again, like today, like this is, anyways, it just, sometimes it drives me nuts, but I know people are doing the best that they can. So anyway, sorry, I just had to add that in there. I'm going to mute myself now. I'm going to stop talking.
Thank you, Molly. I appreciate that so very, very much. If you guys didn't notice, did you notice anything on the beginning half of this call just now with Molly and I? Tell me if you noticed. I'm not going to say what it is. If you noticed what just happened in the last few minutes on that call, type it into the chat. Did you notice anything that just happened to be from the time that I got on and Molly and introduced me? Maybe you don't even notice because you guys are doing this all the time. Well, Molly and I have talked, interruption. Molly and I have talked a lot about this, and I'm so excited. I want to just first of all say, Molly, I know that was killing you.
Sweating. I'm literally
you did a great job. You did a great, great job. How many of you felt a little bit uncomfortable with that as you were watching it? Did you notice that she was talking over me and interrupting? And just because she was so excited about what she was talking about, right? But we wanted to show you an example of that tonight because, we've been talking a lot about three-way calls. Those of you that are in the 60-day sprint, we have been kind of doing a lot of network marketing coaching. And so Molly and I were talking about it. I go, Molly, we're going to do this thing. And she was literally like stomachache over the whole thing this morning. She actually took herself off camera because she's probably like dabbing sweat. That was out of character. That's not what she normally does. But we wanted to show you the example because of the fact that we wanted you to actually see even though you might be excited, even I was wondering, that's so funny, Fairly. Even though you get excited, that really, it is kind of a disruptive practice to have. And this week we've really been, especially those of you that are in our 60-day sprint, we've been talking about exposing and closing. And one of the really, really powerful tools to use is a three-way call. It is so effective when used properly. And let me tell you, I was very guilty of this early in my career. My mentor, the person that taught me everything that I know about network marketing and more, has been my husband. And we have very different personalities. He's like steady Eddie, very calm. He's very even. And those of you that know me know I'm like wild. I get excited. I talk with my hands. I scream, I yell, I'm loud, I cry. And so Bobby would be talking and he'd be having this really fantastic, powerful, methodical training. And I would get so excited. I would literally do what Molly did. And I did it over and over until finally he just said to me, you know, when you interrupt me, I forget what I was saying and it's disruptive. And I felt actually really embarrassed that I was doing that. And I learned to just be patient and my turn will come. So we're going to talk about a couple of things tonight. We are going to talk about sales being dead, but we really wanted to share with you an actual example so that you could experience it and you could see that it actually is disruptive to the people that are on the call. So you might be so excited that you can't wait to have your turn, but let me share with you the power of a three-way call and the power of the call that we just had. We just had our weekly Thursday, we call it our Experience the Opportunity call. And those two things, the three-way call and that call, should be set up by you to be the close. Now, what does that mean? That means before your friends that you've invited to come into the call, come into that call, make sure they have other information. We have loads of ways that you can expose them to Girl Power Alliance. You can use our 72-hour sneak peek. You can use the ad and tag system that's inside of our Facebook group. You can send them to some of the testimonial videos. We have them, all of them on our YouTube channel. You could send them our podcast. You can get them on the Monday prayer call. You can do a lot of different things to expose them. Then when you bring them on the Thursday call, if they're not yet ready to close because of the Thursday call, they just need a little bit more, then utilize the three-way call. And let me tell you why the three-way call is magical and powerful. And by the way, those of you, if you hear me say the word magic, don't send me messages and tell me I'm involved in new age practices or witchcraft because I use that word. I am a writer. I love to use beautiful words. Then I am not, don't add any meaning to the word. Thank you. I just want to put a little ... disclaimer out there. But what happens when you use the three-way call properly is you have already edified the expert. Did you hear how Molly brought me on? She talked about my success in the profession. She's talked about what I have been able to do. And she's talked about our relationship and how that has impacted her life. That means when I speak, she is setting me up as the expert that you'll listen, your prospect will listen. That's why the edification process is actually an important piece. Think about the Grammys or the Oscars. Before anybody gets up to speak, they talk about all of their accomplishments. Have you ever been to, a local chamber event where they do the chamber awards? They are telling you all of the things about that person before they ever speak, so that when that person has the microphone, you could hear a pin drop. Everybody's so excited to hear that person because you have edified them. You've given them authority on the call. So what happens is you give somebody authority on the call like Molly did, and then now you just interrupt them over and over. You're literally taking their authority away. You're saying, listen, this person is so important. You need to listen to them. But by the way, I'm going to go ahead and interrupt them. So what they had to say really isn't that important. And so it actually is undermining the authority that you just gave that person, number one. And number two, when you utilize one of your upline or a person in the team that you're working with, Molly or myself, you should trust that they actually know what to say to answer that person's questions, right? And to help you to take them that little bit further to get them closed. Okay. So I just want to say thank you again. Molly, bring yourself up here. Let's talk about some of the stuff. Why don't you just share a little bit about how you felt doing that? I want you to tell everybody how that felt.
Well, I'm still sweating. So yeah, I have a towel and I'm like glistening, but whatever. That was really hard. And I will tell you guys that I had to ask Michelle, not once, not twice, but 3 times, wait, what are we doing again? How can I do it? Because my brain wanted to fight against it. It was like, we're not doing that. But the thing is that there is, and I'll be honest, so when I met my husband, oh, notorious for doing this. I actually told him, I was like, so if you hear this going on in the room, you're probably gonna be like, what's going on? Because he's notorious for doing that. I love him, but he's gotten so much better. And that's just something where being somebody who's a master in communications, like talked on TV for years, all of that, like I've had that training, but we know you get excited. We know you get excited. And it's just one of those things where it's like, when we come on for that three-way call, it's just 20 minutes, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am, answer their questions. So then they can get started, because these women have waited their whole lives for this moment and they may not have even realized it. They've been searching for something like this. So let's not delay. And if you have something really exciting to share, then do it after they get plugged in, because sometimes you don't think it does, but like Michelle said, it can detract. So that was really hard. But just like Michelle said, she learned the hard way with Bobby. Same here. I had a mentor that I really looked up to, and he looked at me one day being like, so are you going to stop talking? Do you want to just listen to yourself? Or are you going to listen to the person who actually has the results? And then he stood there. I literally, my jaw hit the floor and I was like, well, is that what I was doing? Because I was so excited. But where my excitement actually came from was, number one, like kind of like nervous excited, but I also was trying to overcompensate for things I didn't know. And that could just be me, it may not be you, but I was trying to overcompensate out of nerves or trying to, know it all. But people aren't asking for your perfection. They just want just your authenticity. And I even sometimes will be like, that's a great question. Let me go figure that out. Guess what? I also bring Michelle on three-way calls. If there's somebody, because we're talking to people all the time that we enroll and bring in here, I'll bring Michelle on the call. And, I think once or twice, Michelle, I've probably like, hey, let me jump in here. I'm like, Molly, you're going to stay on mute. You're going to be quiet, because guess who's the authority on the call? Not you. So there's just those things where you just get to kind of audit yourself, being like, you know what? I trust you. And it's just like surrendering to the Lord. And I'll end on this. Just giving it to him, being like, God, this is all you. I brought Michelle on, or I brought Molly on, or I brought Natalie on, or Allie on, or whoever is doing the three-way call. And I trust them to lead. I know they're not going to lead this person astray. I know they're going to do what's best for me, just like our Heavenly Father does. And having that trust is so important. I know it could be new for people, but it's so important. And so I just want to leave it at that. So I'm going to keep dabbing myself off over here, and Michelle, you can keep going.
Awesome. Well, another thing about this, the power of a three-way call, you guys, is it actually makes it easier for you. Listen, set it up, make sure they've been exposed to a number of things. You get them on the three-way call, you edify your person, you put yourself on mute, put your phone down on speaker, go about your business. Like, it literally leverages you. That's really the power of this call too, doing a three-way call. And then the person that you're doing the three-way call will ask for the close. Like, I'll ask, are there any barriers from keeping you to say yes right now? And people are very honest. They'll say yes or no. And so then I'll discuss what the barriers are. But if they say, no, I'm ready, then right then and there, that's when it's time to sign them up. So I'm going to give you some language tonight, because we know, but both of Molly and I know that we get on these calls, the person, the guest, the friend says, yes, I'm ready. We say, amazing. We hang up the phone, and we're knowing that you, whoever you are that did the call with us, is going to get a sign up that night. And then the sign up doesn't come in. So we're like, what happened? So I'm going to give you some language tonight. So if somebody, when your person says, is there any barriers, or whatever the language is, that's my language. Do you have any barriers keeping you from saying yes right now? And then we'll go through that. If they say, no, I'm ready, I'll say, amazing. So I can take your information right now over the phone. We can do it together. Let's do that right now. So they'll say yes or no. Typically people always say yes. They're actually expecting it. They are expecting you to take it the next step. If you just hang up on the call, like, okay, great, I'll send you a link. That is not a bad strategy, but I'm going to teach you how to close. To close is to say, let's get your information right now. Pull up your own link, start putting their information in. If they feel uncomfortable and don't want to share that personal information with you, such as their credit card information, then you could say, okay, if that's what they have chosen, then you say, I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to stay on with you while you fill it out. That's a close. That's a close. You're actually closing. And let me tell you something, more times than not, 9 times out of 10, it's what people are actually expecting. That's the truth. They're expecting. It's not that they don't want to do it when you send them the link. It's just that they're like, okay, I'll get back at it. And then, do you think that there's any distractions in this world keeping them from doing it? Maybe that night, oh shoot, I forgot to do it. All right, I'll do it in the morning. Okay, now the kids and the car and the water heater broke and the phone and the na 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 na. Oh shoot, I'll get to it again. So let me tell you something. You are helping them when you close them. And I feel this so deep in my spirit. We have to fight for them. When we're closing women, it's not about a sales close. It's about the things that they have told us about what this community could do for them, what this opportunity and the finances can do for them, what the personal development, what getting closer to God is going to do for them. And we are fighting for them when we help them to make it happen. That is the truth in the depths of my heart. And so many people talk about here with GPA, you hear Molly and I, you hear Ferris saying it all the time that we're changing the narrative. The narrative is this, and this is why I have never actually liked sales, because sales is about an end result. It's about the sale. It doesn't care about the person. It doesn't care about the result with the product. People can sniff that out when you're just trying to sign somebody up for the sake of signing them up. But the intention, the reason that this is different for me, and I want it to be different for you, is that the intention behind closing them is 100 times different. The intention is that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt in the depths of your soul that when they come into this community, when they sign up, that God will grab a hold of them in a new way and their life will be transformed. That is why you fight for them. You do not fight for them because of the instant enrollment bonus. You do not fight for them you fight for them because you know what God is going to do in their life. That's what makes this different. Plus bonus, guess what? You do get to get paid. What a blessing. We get to get paid. It's an honor. It's like the cherry on top of this amazing Sunday of blessing that this business already is. But do you understand the intention? People feel it. It changes the way you talk to people. It changes the way you look at people. It changes the way you post on social media, and it changes the way you close. Because when you close with the intention of just closing them, that's one thing. But when you close because in your heart, you're fighting for the why that they've already told you. You're fighting for the fact that they don't want to go back to work at the end of the summer because they want to be home with their kids. You're fighting for the fact that their husband is so stressed out that they're fighting all the time. They have a stack of bills. You're fighting for the fact that they hate their job and they wake up every morning with a knot in their stomach. You're fighting for the fact that retirement is coming and you know they can't retire because they don't have the money. You're fighting for the fact that they have kids in college, kids that want to get married, or they just want to have kids and they can't afford it. You're fighting for that when you help them to say yes and take the first step. That's what closing is for me. So when you guys are out there and you're having these conversations and you're wondering, what should I post? The most important thing for you to do when you post is to talk about what's happening to you, your testimony. I just got on this call. It was amazing. What call? I want to hear all about it. I just listened to this training on Canva. I've been using Canva for 4 years. I learned more in 60 minutes than I've learned in 4 years. Post it. What are you talking about? What call? What video? My marriage is being transformed because we went through the biblical marriage bliss class. What's that? I learned more about finances in this 12-part Kingdom Finances series. Oh, I need that. When you are going through, when you're engaging in the community and you're going through these classes, the live calls, just the relationships, we could just talk about radiant leadership for hours. And you talk about what's happening to you, you're sharing it, you're planting so many seeds all over the kingdom for Christ and for your business, for their growth. And that is you fighting for other people. I don't know what to say. First of all, we have amazing tools. Thank you, Jesus, for Natalie and Brandy, who literally built that out for us as we are launching here, amazing shift in your intention, which will shift your energy, which will shift the way that you talk to people and shift the way people respond. And I believe with all of my heart, and our whole team here at GPA believes this, that this stereotype that has been stuck to network marketing for a really long time, and for good reason, right? There's been a lot of good reasons. God is changing it. When people see the culture and what this network marketing company is doing, it's literally going to change the flavor. It's going to change the taste in their mouth. Molly, I'm going to come back up. I know you have things to add to this conversation. We have just a few minutes left. I'm going to pull myself off the camera and you got the conch.
Well, the conch, you're hilarious. I just love to let her flow because Michelle has so much experience in this that it's like, I just want to learn and listen and take notes all day long. And that's what I love about this is that just the humility of just, there's so many people that you can learn from in here. And I just have to share this very quickly. There's people in this chat that said, you know, because so-and-so fought for me, I am here. Thank you for fighting for me. I don't know about you, but that gets me a little like, whoo, like, I love that because you'll see this hashtag on a lot of my posts and it's totally just from the Holy Spirit, but I put, it's bigger than me because it is. Everything that I do, it's bigger than me. Everything that you do is bigger than you because every action has a reaction. And you get to ask me like, okay, Lord, is what I'm saying now, is what I'm doing now, where is that coming from? Where's that coming from? And, you know, an easy way to be like, okay, where's this coming from? Does it align with the fruits of the Spirit? God's really had me in Galatians a lot right now. I'm just really diving into the fruits of the Spirit because I get a lot of people asking me, and this is a little off topic, but maybe this is going to hit home for somebody. I believe it will. I get people asking me, Molly, how do you know if you're hearing from God? And I say, you know what? First and foremost, does it align with the fruits of the Spirit? And if it doesn't, get it out of here. Get it out of here. And really like ask yourself, is this coming out of a place because I want to take control because I'm fearful of what might happen next? Or am I letting God take control? Because it's up to us to be obedient. It's up to God for the outcome. And when we really release that, that's what I really believe that is so different here inside GPA is, and there's a video, this part's not in the video, but inside of the guide section, the last guide I put in there because I was asked the profound differences of Girl Power Alliance. This part isn't in there, but there's a lot of good stuff in there where you can actually tag your people so they can see what makes this company different. But truly, it's the partner of the Holy Spirit is so key. It is so key. And there's times where God's going to be like, okay, here are the names that I'm writing on your heart to go reach out to. But there's going to be times where he's like, you're going to take some time with me and we're going to work some stuff out. We're going to heal through some things. We're going to slow down so we can speed up, which as an A-type, sometimes that is a killer. I'm just like, what do you mean? But I can tell you when I started doing that, I journal more. I'm so much more clear in my thoughts. I'm not like anxious or frustrated with people like I used to be because I'm actually spending that time and being like, okay, Lord, where do you want me? What's next? Forget my agenda. What's yours? Truly, it's partnering with him. And one of my favorite pieces is when people come to me as the growth strategist, Molly, what do you think? Molly, what do you think? I'll step back and be like, what is God telling you? And then they'll be like, oh, you know, I don't really know. And then they go off and guess what? They never come back. And I love that because then they figured it out or they're divulging in a conversation together, you know, that person in the Lord. And that's what this is all about, is strengthening that relationship with God first, which is going to maximize your personal life, your relationships, your business. Because as somebody who's been in consulting for a long time, a lot of people want the business strategy. How can I make more money? Well, what does a strategy do? It only magnifies who you really are and what you're really doing and the foundation of where that's set. So if you don't have a strong foundation, that strategy is going to possibly like blow that out of the water. It's going to crumble, you know, like the house that's built on the sand, who knows, but you just get to ask God, God, what do you want? And so I believe you're on this call and you're inside of this training because you truly want to lay some things down, being like, Lord, I want you to take over. And we actually have a podcast that's going to be coming out in the next couple of months where the lady is talking about what it was like to have worldly success and then godly success and what was the difference. And I was like, oh my gosh, so good. People need to hear this. They need to hear this. The real, the raw, the truth. And that's why I love our podcast, because we bring so many women on that share what God's doing through them. And so if you're looking for that dose of inspiration and that dose of like, what are other women doing? That is a great place for you to go just get filled up. Listen in the gym, listen in your car. There's so many amazing women that God's bringing to us to share their stories with you. So I just want to say thank you, Michelle, for coming on here, sharing that real raw truth, because we want you guys to have the success that you've told us. We want to retire our husbands. We want to bring them home. We want them to be a part of the family. I want to be able to bring this extra income in so I can send my kids here, there, everywhere, pay off debt. You know, I want to, whatever that is, make that why be so anchored. And we're going to be here fighting for your possibilities, even if you choose to fight for your own limitations. We're going to be here fighting for your possibilities because we believe in this so much. So we love you. I know I'm a minute over, but thank you so much for jumping on this. If you're brand new to this, seriously, you stayed on this for a reason. Get back to the person who brought you on this call because they're fighting for you right now. Take that leap because God's got you no matter what that looks like. No matter what that looks like. There's women on here that are on their last being like, I don't know if I can afford it, but I'm going to figure it out. And they figured it out. Why? Because they chose to surrender and partner with God. So we love you all so much. Thank you so much for jumping on tonight. And we cannot wait to see what God's going to do next in your lives. So good night, everyone.